What's up, everybody? Very excited. Today I will be interviewing Kfir. It is Kfir. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, it's kind of an unpronounceable name. It's if you would say it in Hebrew, it would be Kfir, but all my American friends are calling me Kfir.
Kfir. So that it's like
whatever. No, it's Kfir, but whatever comes out of your mouth is totally cool with me.
Okay, cool. So Kfir is one of the co-founders and CEOs of DSM Tool, and today I wanted to talk to him just about his life. And as part of this series of interviews for this channel, I'm trying to kind of identify the forces in people's lives that led them to kind of make tools or do whatever it is that they do, right? So the easiest way to usually start is, where were you born, man?
I'm calling you from the area of Tel Aviv, which is where I live today, which is very, very hot, by the way. Hot today. I was born in a small town next to Nazareth. I guess everyone are familiar with Jesus from Nazareth, so that's exactly the same place.
Famous town.
Famous town. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not that crowded or not that many people live there, and it's quite a small place in the periphery of the state of Israel. But that's where I was born, and today I live more in the center of Israel, more close to the high-tech industry, which is in Tel Aviv.
Cool. So, what can you tell me a bit about your parents? Like, what was your mother like? What was your father like? How did they meet?
Oh yeah, we're talking about childhood.
Yeah.
And parents.
You gotta start with childhood, man.
I'll tell you a little bit about my family, and actually there is a really good reason and something that I should start with. I don't know if everyone that are following or using DSM Tool knows that, but I founded the company together with my brother, which is the head of technology. He is also 8 years older than me, so we didn't really grow up together in the sense of like, you know, two brothers that are nagging each other, and you know, I don't remember fights with him as a kid. But actually, by the time that I was conscious enough to understand what's going on around me, he was already on the way out of the house, like to school. Our parents, my mother was a kindergarten teacher, and my father used to work as a quality control manager in a factory in our town. And nothing anywhere in the area of startups or not even like finance, nothing in any area that is related to anything that we do today. But I don't know, I guess it's really hard for me to talk like that about my childhood. I just don't know what to say.
That's fine.
Amazing.
So I can guide you along here, because now the next logical question is, how do your parents feel about what you do? Like, was there a point where I'm assuming now they're supportive, but I don't know. What's that like for you? Okay,
so when we started DSM, I had to take a risk in the sense of working for a good couple of months without even taking a salary. And for my parents, I'm 28, and for a guy that is like 25 to 26 years old, that is coming to his parents and saying, like, guys, I'm not going to work for a few months, and I need you to support me. And I'm like 25, and I'm not going to get any salary. I just graduated, and I didn't really have a job when I was in school. Like a full-time job, and like instead of going and getting a real job, I'm like going and trying to build a startup. And not only me, also my brother is doing the same thing. It's like, are you guys crazy or something? But I don't know. They have always been supportive in our entrepreneurial ideas and always helped us with them. We had previous ventures that we tried to create. It's not our first venture. It's our first venture that scales up to that level, but it's not our first venture. And they have been supportive before, and obviously now when everything is like, you know, growing nicely, then they're totally cool with it, and totally in love with the fact. Yeah, and I think that also, and it's something that maybe the listeners would love to understand, whether it's about their children or whether it's them that are dealing with their parents. Many times it's a game of understanding the risk management that you're doing. So, for example, if you are 25 or 26 and you want to go to your parents and say, guys, I need your support now for a couple of months to start my own venture, start my startup, or I don't know, invest in my dropshipping business or in anything that I'm doing, then eventually, but you have to explain either to whether you're the one that is going to give the support or the one that is asking for the support. Whether you're the parent or the child, you have to explain the risk that is being taken. It has to be as much as possible calculative risk, and you have to discuss what will happen in 6 months if it doesn't work, and what are your expectations. And the better the communication is, which is the foremost thing that we tried to do with our parents that were supporting us. We kept them up to date, and we had the plan had a due date, which if in that due date it doesn't work, then we need to understand what is the next step, and we knew what is going to be the next step ahead. And I think that helped a lot, making this what seems to be a huge risk maybe a little bit, at least looking less risky.
Yeah. I know it's also important to understand that everything we do in life is taking risks, so just because we are taking risks is not bad, but as you say, it must be calculated. You must think about, okay, what happens if
it's more than just calculated, because when you calculate it with yourself, it's one thing, but when you calculate it and you communicate it to whoever you're asking to participate with you in taking that risk, it puts everything in such an order that first you get feedback. People can tell you, like the people that are supposed to support you, they can say, "Are you nuts? What the hell are you talking about? You're gonna take all that and just burn the money on, I don't know, on doing something that doesn't make sense. Let's discuss it." So you're getting feedback, and feedback is important. When we started DSM, we eventually did not raise an investment, but we went to meet up with investors to try to raise funds. And actually, at some point, we stopped looking for funds, but we kept meeting up with investors because I wanted to get the feedback. I wanted to hear, what do they have to say about our industry, about this business, about the business model. Maybe suddenly they can contact me with someone that might help us, with anything. And so first thing is the feedback that you're getting. And second, just think about like how think about what's the image that you think that sometimes your parents has of you when you're taking a decision, and like it's the what's the word for it? I'm missing words in English now. It's like the known image of the parents looking at the kids and say, "Oh, what the hell are they doing to those youngsters? They don't know what they're doing." Yeah, thank you. The stereotype is the word I'm looking for. So it's breaking the stereotype, and it's true. It is breaking the stereotype, and allowing you maybe to take risks that you wouldn't take otherwise. And it's amazing because it lays in the communication. It's amazing what communication can do. It's true with anything in life, but here is a really good example for it.
Yeah. So you are emphasizing the importance of communication, not just in general, but specifically when it comes to assessing risks.
Exactly. Yeah. Specifically when you want to take a risk, and on the other side on the other side, there is someone that is taking the risk with you. And I think that it is so relevant to the listeners, because people that are listening that are following these YouTube channels, they're trying to create their own ventures, and it doesn't matter if the scale of the venture is getting huge or staying small for a while. The goal is the same goal for everyone in its basics, and we have to understand that we're taking risks. I took a risk. We're all taking risks when we're starting our own venture or our own business, and people are dependent on us, or people that are cooperating with us, they're taking that risk we together with us, whether we like it or not. So if we're already forcing a risk on them, we at least could communicate.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting, and it's interesting learning that your brother is involved, because I've been talking to more people about software in particular, because now I'm getting involved with a software company. And one thing that I've learned is that there's a lot of software out there that is just, it's teams of freelancers who have no ties to one another, that they get hired to make like a certain project, and everyone's very separate. And that tends to, you can create something, but then there's problems later, and you need some kind of tie together. And you guys have a family tie, so that's interesting to me. But so let's go back a bit and get back to when you were growing up. So it sounds like your parents are pretty supportive. Your brother was 8 years older than you, so he was around, but you guys weren't really like complete same generation, same like hanging out
still
all
not.
the time. So
Still not the same generation.
Tell me a bit about like as a kid, what did you do for fun? How did you spend your time?
Okay, I'm gonna step forward to when I was a teenager, because I think that would be more connected to what I'm doing today and more interesting. I can't remember since when did I start participating in all kind of leadership and entrepreneurship programs and things that are like oriented for becoming or doing stuff in leading positions and initiating stuff. So I was I'm trying to think about, like, I was participating in all kind of organizations that back then the idea would be to start some kind of a venture, but it wouldn't be anything business related. Like kids my age would try to start like small social ventures or social projects, and there is even an NGO that is still active today that one of the guys from that specific program started.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so that was something that occupied a lot of my time. I was very active in all those in couple of programs that were meant, and I was always thinking, like, when I grow up, I want to be, I don't know in what am I going to do, I don't know what's going to be the profession, but I do know that I want to be in such a position where I could influence people. That was one thing. The other thing that I did at the same time, which was my second biggest hobby, was playing instruments. I became a drummer, and that's still something that I do today, which is my biggest hobby.
It's so important to have other passions and hobby, especially if you are into e-commerce or anything that requires risk. Yeah,
so that leads to actually an interesting story, hopefully interesting. I hope that I'm not boring everyone. That when I was 17, I started my first business-related venture. So no more social projects. All the projects ended because it was the end of high school, and I decided that it's time to try to build a venture. And actually, I went on eBay. It's something e-commerce related. I went on eBay, and I told you that I'm a drummer. So I had a band which we're still playing till today. We're not so famous. I'm not even going to mention the name because it would be really embarrassing. But I had a band, and we had a huge crowd of 20 friends of ours, which we wanted to give them guitar picks with our logo. So I was looking where to print a guitar pick with our logo, and I couldn't find anywhere. So I went on eBay, and we're talking about 2007, 2008. eBay is quite big worldwide. Yeah. It's not that big in Israel. I mean, it's not that popular to buy online in Israel, especially not internationally. And I found this supplier for guitar picks in, I think it's in Scotland. And I was writing to him, and I said, listen, what's your price? And what if I want to sell other friends your products? How will it work? Will it be cheaper that way? And he sent me, I didn't even know the word reseller back then in English. He said that I'm a reseller. And I was like, oh, I'm a reseller. I had no idea what it means to resell. but I knew that I'm a reseller, and I have become his reseller, and I had some really little knowledge in website building. So I built a website with like one of those platforms like Wix that allows you to build a website for free. And I became an e-commerce seller of customized guitar picks in Israel, and I was the only one. And as a teenager, I started making money. It wasn't a big business; it was a really, really small business. But I had money to buy drums equipment. It was really cool. I was like the richest kid in the neighborhood, in that sense. It was the first touch that I had with e-commerce, and it started back then. It started in such early age. We're talking about more than 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2000. It's 2018 now. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so just to get on a tangent for a little bit, you said that people don't really use eBay too much to buy things in Israel?
No, back then.
Ah, back then. Okay.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
No, it's almost as popular as it is in the United States. I think that Amazon is now it's a very big news now that nobody really knows if Amazon is opening a fulfillment center in Israel or isn't. Nobody is sure, but for example, even Amazon.com just opened like shipping to Israel. It's not free, but they have shipping to Israel, and it's becoming more and more popular.
That program. Because eBay's offered the GSP program, which very much isn't free. It's pretty expensive, but but like the ordering online is like Israel. It's just like other Western countries. It's just very popular, and there is not a huge e-commerce industry. There is an e-commerce startups industry and companies industry, but it's not that big. But I just got today a package. So let me ask, when it comes to your personal life, do any of your friends, like, is there anybody that you know who does drop shipping? Or are you just like, oh, you're that friend who has that drop shipping thing, and they're like, okay.
I'm trying to think because 3 years of running DSM, I have a lot of friends that are now from the dropshipping world.
Yeah.
But like if we're talking about like childhood friends or friends from home or friends from school, then I would say that I'm the guy that is doing dropshipping more than I would say that people like that everyone are doing dropshipping. And I'll tell you a funny story. From time to time, I rarely get like this call from someone that I used to know years ago. It happened to me, I think, twice. And they're suddenly really, really happy to hear me, to hear my voice. And they're like, hey, I just heard you on a video and I was so surprised to hear your voice. So what's up? What are you doing exactly? And they're just starting to do dropshipping, and they want to start their own business, and they want tips, or they want to learn really how to use DSM. Yeah, so that happens more often than like people that are already dropshippers that I know of.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's something, as both you and I are in dropshipping, so we're connected with dropshippers, we're around that. So it changes our perception, because the reality is most people in the world don't know what dropshipping is. Like
definitely
they don't, and I have a hard time keeping myself aware of that fact. In my head, I'm like, oh, everybody's drop shipping. It's, but that's not really true.
I'll give you another example. How many companies that manufacture, are you surfing by chance?
Surfing?
Yeah.
I have not done it, but I do like that kind of sport.
Okay, great. But you have not done it. Me neither, by the way. I just took, let's take, I don't know, tennis or whatever. Let's take surfing as an example. So if you were a professional surfer, your whole life would be around surfing, and you would know everything. Every news that comes out, every company, every new product, everyone that are surfing. Do you know who just won some international competition of surfing? Who knows? We're dropshippers, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So we're like, and people that are growing their dropshipping business they have to be more and more in that industry and know the people and get involved with whoever is in that industry. And it's the same for us. And if we would be surfers, I'm sure first that you would be much better than me. And second, that we would know everything about surfing.
I went snowboarding once, and the whole time I was just like,
oh man,
like full on my face getting up. It was bad. It was bad.
So here is another personal detail about me. I'm 6'3", or in meters it's 1.92 meters.
Pretty tall.
Which, yeah, it's pretty tall and pretty scary to snowboard when you're that tall. So I have never snowboarded in my life, and I don't think I will.
It's funny now. Whenever with video like this, you can't tell how tall someone is because people tend to adjust the frame, right? But I have seen in some photos, like social media photos with you, it's like, oh, he's a tall one.
Yeah, I am.
So let's go back again here and tell me about your experience with school.
With school, okay.
First off, we should probably establish what school typically goes like in Israel, because maybe it's different than wherever our viewers are. And specifically, I'm kind of talking about schooling between the ages of like 16 and 22.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the differences between the systems. So I'm gonna skip all of preschool and mid like high school begins in 13. There is something called mid-school that we have until 16, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go straight to high school and then what comes next. So first, the structure is that when you're 16, you go to high school, and then when you're 18, you graduate. But when you graduate, you don't go to university. You are being drafted to the IDF. And that goes for 3 years, and you only finish the military service when you're either 21 or 22, and then you're free to go to university. But no one goes straight to university. It's very, very popular for Israelis to go and travel the world a little bit, mostly either South America or the East, India.
So
some goes to New Zealand.
IDF, it's okay to have time to
like a gap year. I would call it a gap year where everyone a year or two before.
That's expected?
It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's kind of expected. It really depends on who are you hanging around with. But in some social aspect, it is even expected. It's like a really known phenomena. And then you go to university. So I'll go to my story. When I was 16, I went to high school, and I told you a little bit about that time. I got drafted when I was not 18. I got drafted late when I was 19. So I spent 3 years in some interesting details about me. I was serving within the military jail of IDF. For 3 years, I can't say, so neither of those periods of time in my life, as much as it sounds exciting that I had like my own little business when I was a teenager, I actually didn't really enjoy school, and I didn't feel that it fulfilled me. And I definitely didn't get along with the military system, which is very, very harsh. And I did what I had to do, but I can't say that I was
you weren't happy about it. Really?
I didn't feel connected or very, very engaged about it, because it's not the structure of a system that I like. Today I'm in a startup, so it kind of makes sense. I needed the freedom. So these are 2 periods of my life that I didn't feel that I'm fulfilled in the sense of school and of studies of things that I'm learning. When I finished the military service, and right before, I did do a trip to South America. I didn't plan to do it. It wasn't expected from me, and actually most of my friends were not traveling South America, or some of them traveled after me, but for some reason I wasn't that familiar with the phenomena of all the Israelis that are going to South America. I got to know it when I got there, but I was traveling. For some reason I got a free flight to be a summer camp counselor in Austin, Texas. Yeah, wow. So I spent 2 months in Austin, Texas, which led me to then travel a little bit the United States and Canada. I spent a whole month in Michigan, in MSU, as a guest, not as a student, but as a guest mostly in students' parties, to be honest. Not exactly. I didn't go to study. And from there, I went to another 4 months in South America. So I traveled a lot. I learned a little bit Spanish and had a lot of good time. When I got back to Israel, I decided that. So I took a decision, and I decided that goes back to my parents and their support. I decided that I think that I know that I think that I can see a potential in that guitar pick business that I had. And I said, well, I realized that during Christmas time, my supplier is supplying the orders really, really slow. And I contacted him and I was like, dude, what's going on? Like, my customers are waiting. Why are the orders? And we're not talking about a lot of orders. We're talking about really small orders. And he said, look, I'm just overloaded. I don't know what to do. I can't supply. And I said, well, that means that there is an opportunity here, and I should maybe start manufacturing my own guitar picks and print myself on guitar picks. So I just moved back. I just got back from a year traveling, and I came back to live with my parents. And my father is an electrician. And we decided to build our own printing machine that will print guitar picks. So for a couple of months, we tried to build.
We ordered. So cool! You did that with your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, that warms
my
heart.
So we bought like second-hand printers, and we took them apart. And I have crazy. I could send you pictures if you want. We built something crazy. We ordered like all kind of stuff from China, trying all different kind of inks. And eventually we had a printing machine, a working printing machine. And it was the first day that we have decided, like we said, okay, today is the day when we're going to test and actually print guitar picks. And I was putting there was a plate that you can put like the guitar picks in. It had little holes for the guitar picks, so you put it you put them in, and then you feed it into the printer, and the printer goes and it printed, and it was a picture. I would never forget. It was a picture of Chris Cornell, the singer of I can't remember. I think Pearl Jam. And so it printed his face. There are like 5 guitar picks that were printed, and after 5 guitar picks, the whole system shut down, never worked again. It was a complete disaster. I think I still have those guitar picks somewhere. And that's when I decided that I'm going to study business, and I registered to business school. That's what led me to sign up for business school. Mostly, by the way, not just because so within that process of building that machine and going back to living with my parents, I think that I realized that I'm missing a lot of knowledge, because I was like, I know how to sell those guitar picks, and I can sell, I don't know, let's say a good $250 a month. But like, I'm starting to get to an age where $250 a month are not going to be enough for a living. Now, listen, in some countries, and it's important to say that, in some countries, $250, you can live a whole month out of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in those countries, by the way, I'm expecting in the future dropshipping to be very, very strong, where people can work from home and make their whole salary.
You get paid like triple or quadruple what you get paid in the States, basically. Or in, I absolutely agree, but go on.
Yeah, but in Israel, it was obviously not enough to make $250 a month. Israel is very, very expensive to live in. And I realized that if I want to scale that business up, I'm going to need some skills. I'm going to need skills that I did not know, that I did not have back then. For example, today, I'll talk a little bit about the business school, but one of the things that were new to me in business school is the world of finance. I didn't even know about the existence of the world. I didn't know, like, for things like that today are so obvious to me. Like, how do you determine the price of a stock in the stock market? What does it mean? Why does stocks has price? So I'm not going to dig into it right now, but if you go initially to what is a stock, you understand that actually a stock is a simple investment. Like, if you're going to tell me now I'm going to open a dropshipping business, why don't you give me $1,000? I'll bring a few VAs. like virtual assistants, and I will, in exchange, give you 50% of all of my future profits. And I would say yes, and I would give you $50, and we'll sign some paper that says that. Basically, it's the same thing that happens in the stock market over there. It's much more complicated and stuff. Yeah, and I didn't know about that, the existence of that. So, for example, one thing that I found out is that if I would raise an investment of $10,000 for my business, I could have bought a really huge printing machine that works ahead, and I would not have to spend all this time on building machines, which is something that I'm really, really not good at. I could spend that time on marketing, which is something that I had a little bit more knowledge at, which is something that business school teaches you. Or even in that world of marketing, like signing contracts with suppliers, like how do you do that even? Like how does everything work? I didn't know back then, and that's why I decided that I'm going to business school. And I want to say, the reason that I'm talking so much about that is because, well, you don't have to go to a business school. Business school is like, it's just one place to gain those tools and to learn those things that you can learn from YouTube, even like from anywhere. What's important is that you acknowledge the fact that at the moment that you are starting to make money from anything that is not being directly employed by an employer, you are a business owner, and business owners need business skills. In every level, they need to understand something in finance. They need to understand something in marketing. They need to understand something in management if they're going to manage a team of virtual assistants. Now, how many of the guys that are listening to us has hired a virtual assistant, or trying to, or thinking, or will hire in the future a virtual assistant when their business grow? Because hopefully their business will grow. I mean, otherwise, why are they listening to us right now if they don't want their business to grow? And they have watched a TED Talk, for example, about team management, about communication with your employees, about how to make sure that your employees are feeling fulfilled. We have today, one of the things that we're doing today in DSM is we have some people from that working in DSM team. The DSM team is about 25 people today. Some of the guys that are working from us are from third world countries, such as the Philippines. They started as virtual assistants, and they are today a part of the DSM team. And we invested a lot of time in learning and understanding what's going on there. The moment someone is with us for a certain amount of time, we are purchasing a whole a workstation for them, because if we expect them to be there 8 hours a day giving a great service, we need to provide them the tools. So when it's needed, we buy computers. We even buy chairs and tables if it's needed for them to work with. And that's just a small example. I'm going back to the business tools. So I don't want to, I'm going straight to giving tips, and that's not the topic.
No. What I'm getting from this is you're emphasizing the importance of educating yourself about business. If you're interested in, pretty much if anyone's watching this channel and they haven't taken some kind of business course or anything that will teach them about how any business runs, we really should, because it's very much relevant. Dropshipping isn't just a magic thing that brings in money. If you can understand what's useful in other businesses, and you can learn kind of some of the foundations and standards, that's absolutely going to be very helpful in all online e-commerce pursuits, right?
In every kind of business that you're ever going to pursue. And more than that, once you are doing dropshipping, you are already a business owner, sorry. And it's not that you need to start studying business, is that you need to constantly educate
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, register to TED and watch talks about it, take courses in free websites, follow your channel and keep watching like business related content. And just remember that if you want to scale up, which is what I wanted back then. I looked at my machine that stopped working, and I was like, how the hell do I scale that up from $250 a month to something, to a real business, to a company?
Yeah.
How am I going to get employees when I can't even get the machine to work? And I think that it was a very, you said that the conversation today is going to be about points in my life that shaped the person that I am today. And I think that when it comes to my professional life, then this was a very, very strong point. That when I understood that if you want to scale things up, you have to master, you have to become professional at them. And the profession of people like us that are trying to either make money online or trying to make money, again, listen to the definition. It's a very, very simple definition. If you are trying to make money and it's not from direct employment, you're a business owner and you need to have business skills.
Yeah. Many people like to, in the States, people will be like, oh no, it's just my hobby, but it brings in money. And then they're like, I shouldn't have to pay taxes on my hobby, but it's a business.
Well, I'm not going down to the level of like the legal aspect and whether you should pay taxes or not. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about a completely different things. Let's say that something is your hobby. Aren't you investing in your hobbies as well? Learning like all the specifications and all the little things about your hobby. Whatever your hobby is, if your hobby is cars, you most likely are familiar with a lot of things that are related to cars. Now, if your hobby is dropshipping, you should be familiar with a lot of things that are related to business, because doing business is your hobby, which is great. Why not? Why not doing it even as a hobby? It's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. There's definitely ways to enjoy things more. But let's see. So that's really cool, that story about the printer. It's funny how often like we think that when we come into opportunity, immediately we're like, oh, okay, I got to make something work with this, and then we think that we know how this is going to play out. Like, oh, this is gonna be the thing that changes our life, or this is going to be the thing that brings in the money. But most of the time, what ends up happening is it's the thing that leads you to the thing that leads you to the thing that brings in the money. Yeah, it's not it's not only about money, because as you said, I think that there is another layer to it, because the statistics is against you. When you're starting a dropshipping business, when you're starting with dropshipping business, it's usually the statistics are not against you because it's a relatively easy revenue. But when we're talking about booming, about making tons of money, then the statistics are against you, because there are less people that are making a lot of money and more people that are making less money. It's just the simple statistics. By the way, statistics is also a very interesting subject for business studies. But that's not the point. The point is that it's against you. And the idea of waking up in the morning and doing something that you're interested in, doing something that fulfills you, we're here. I mean, we're here. We're going one way, whether we like it or not, and it's gonna end at some point. And the one thing that we can do is to really enjoy, or at least try all the time to fulfill it. And it's not always easy. It's no matter what kind of job you do. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about my job, but not everything even in the life of a CEO, not everything is like, oh my God, I wake up in the morning and I'm super excited about writing the financial reports today. Woohoo! I'm like super excited about it. And or sometimes you have to do unfortunate stuff. Sometimes people are leaving. Sometimes you have to let people go, and not everything is like is fun and makes you feel great, and where there are bugs or issues in the system, and you're worried about people because you can come back home and not sleep for a couple of days, and it happened a couple of times. So, but I'm talking about me, but think about you, and anyone that listens to us can think about the things that they don't like about their day to day. And part of the goal in my perspective is to fill up, there are going to be ups and downs, but if you're not going to work for it, then there are going to be less ups and more downs. Yeah. And trying to fulfill yourself and feel great with what you're doing and
feeling like you're advancing and you're learning new things and you're progressing as a person and as a professional, and hopefully also making tons of money out of it. It's really hard to promise because, again, the statistics is going to be against you. If you're lucky enough and you did the right move at the right time, then you'll make it. And if not, then yes, it's really hard because it's always connected, and always when you do entrepreneurship, you want to also make a lot of money out of it. But if you think about it, then if you feel like you're not fulfilled by your job, or that you want to do other things in your life that will bring different aspects of fulfillment, and entrepreneurship is one of them, and dropshipping is your way to do entrepreneurship, then let it be, then let it fulfill you.
Yeah, absolutely. That word fulfillment is very important. Yeah. Very important to understand.
Yeah.
I think this has been really good. I think we're getting at the point where I should stop the recording pretty soon.
Okay.
Is there anything else you wanna go over?
Well, I wish we would have questions from people that are asking, which we don't. If
there will be more videos.
So I'm trying to think about like the one last thing that I could maybe give for the listeners to think about. And you know what, I have something, because eventually I am running DSM Tool, which is a dropshipping software, and I am a big believer in entrepreneurship, and I believe that it's within the hands of everyone. And the only difference between the fact that I'm being interviewed right now and not another person that established DSM Tool is a matter of a lot of consequences and luck, but mostly believing in it, and taking the risk and trying keep on trying and keep on getting better. And my tip is actually not just keep trying to get better, which is always sounds lazy to me. Rather, try not only to keep trying. The way to keep trying is to diverse and to take new risks that maybe would not 100% give you the low profit, like not a low profit, maybe not 100% give you profit at all, but have a chance to do something that no one has ever done before. And I'll give you an example. For example, if you're today selling on eBay and you have never tried to sell on any other platform, and it's an absurd because today
I see where you're going.
We do not yet support other destinations than eBay, but it's not about that. It's about being. I'm thinking about the business owners, and if you have only sold on one platform, because this is what some of our customers do, and I'm always saying, I said from the first video that we have ever done for DSM, from the first webinar that we did about how to use DSM, I said, well, if you're an online seller, then try to sell online. Try even to sell offline. Like, try to find your way and what you're good in. And I gave this tip to one of our employees stopped working with us, and because she wanted to do other stuff, and she said, listen, I really want to open a Shopify store. That's what she wanted to do, but I find it really hard to deal with the Facebook content management. And then I said, well, what are you good at? And she said, I'm good at all the market research and fulfillment and dealing with the operation of the business. And I said, well, okay, so if you already know that you're good in that, don't stop yourself from going and doing new stuff. Maybe look for a partner. Maybe take a course in learning how to market on Facebook, and maybe even there you'll find your partner, by the way. And the concept of diversing and trying new things and keep getting better, and it's also connected to go learning a little bit about business. If you have never studied anything in business, then go study some stuff in business. If you have studied stuff in business but you're only selling on eBay, diverse a little bit outside of eBay. I don't know why I gave eBay as the only example. It's not the only example, but in anything, even if you want to stay within eBay and you're selling, I don't know, you never try to sell from a specific category or try to sell stuff from home or I don't know what. And then the important thing is find something that keep looking all the time for things that you're really good at and that you can do really good. And if you can make money out of them, then make money out of them. If you need partners to make money out of them, then find partners and do it with them. And when you find your share and what you're really good at, then you could scale it up much more than if you're just following trends and what people are telling you. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell people what to do. I'm going to tell them go and try, go wild. Yeah. Go as wild as you can and try things and
you got to follow your interests.
Take the risk.
And I'll share a quick story relevant to this concept of being comfortable taking risks and not necessarily for immediate monetary gain. Like you're saying, the instance of a seller who only sells on eBay, then, in a sense, it's a risk to try and sell on Amazon or try and do a Shopify store. But what you'll find is that by being willing to take those risks, you're going to educate yourself and you're going to move your life forward in a way that enables you to earn more money, whether it's from that specific pursuit or from something else. That's definitely something that is important to get comfortable with. And I'll share.
Nobody promises you to make more money, but A, you get more fulfillment because you're doing more interesting stuff, and B, you do have the chance to make more money. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the concept of risk.
And for me, the big risk. The risk that I took that really paid off was starting the YouTube channel, because there was definitely a point where I was like, okay, I'm drop shipping. If I share all this, will I earn less money because people do the things that I'm sharing? Well, that was a fear I had in the beginning, but I just chose to do it anyway. And ultimately, I had no idea how much YouTube would completely change my life. And if I had not shared the information out of that fear that it would be stolen from me and that I wouldn't be able to do anything with it, then
it's more than that. If you invest time in your YouTube channel, that means that you invest less time in your eBay store. That means that you invest less time in other stores that you might have opened if you wouldn't open your YouTube channel. But that's exactly the point of taking risk. By the way, it's the same thing for DSM Tool. When we started DSM Tool, it was a software for us. We didn't plan to give it to anyone.
Yeah.
We said, well, it's such a great software. We love it. Why don't we use it and scale up our own stores? And we released it just to test if people like it. And yeah, just like your case, we found out that it's working really great. And we found out that we love to develop software. That's a really good thing for us to do. Today we are far more software developers and software company than just dropshippers and dropshipping company. We keep doing it because we want to stay, in the business and know what's going on in the field, but we are definitely counting ourselves as a software company.
Awesome. All right. This has been very good. I'm very, very happy with this. So if any of the viewers want to contact you or somebody in DSM, is there any kind of contact information you want me to put in the description?
The best way to pass messages to me that I will actually get, because I'm flooded with so many messages every day. You can tell because I can barely answer to you. We have today, we have now a new head of marketing that is more in contact with you than me. But if someone wants to contact me directly, I'm always open for a discussion, and they should contact our chat support. It's if you log into dsmtool.com, then you have on the bottom right corner a little blue chat support widget, and you can write there a message, and you can just say, please assign it to Kfir. We are a small company, so everyone knows who I am. They will just assign the conversation to me, and I will get the note. I have to say that I have to be sorry in advance that it usually takes me a long time to answer messages just because I'm so flooded with them.
Yeah, I understand.
But I'm very happy to talk and to respond and to be in touch.
Awesome. All right. All right then, everybody. I think with that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know that some of these videos are longer, but I know that everybody likes them, and I'm really trying to head more in this direction of trying to take advantage of the YouTube channel as a network and identify individuals who have information and insight to offer to my audience, because I cannot I'm just one person. I don't have all the answers, and there's so much more information in that network than there is in me. So I really want to put the focus of my channel to be more on being able to work with other people. So hopefully this is a direction it heads in more. See you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bye-bye.